For 480 years, one gate in Jerusalem has remained sealed, bricked shut, untouched. Why? Because prophecy said it would stay closed until the Messiah returns. But what happens when that gate starts to open? In 2019, something impossible occurred. The inner chambers, buried for centuries, became accessible, not to kings, not to politicians, to worshippers. Is this maintenance? Coincidence? Or is this the prophetic clock striking closer to midnight than we ever imagined? They call it the Golden Gate. But gold isn't what makes it precious. Prophecy is. It sits in the eastern wall of Jerusalem's old city, quiet, still, watching. It doesn't welcome tourists. It doesn't open for traffic. It doesn't even creak with the wind, because it's not just closed. It's sealed, stone upon stone, brick upon brick, silence upon silence. But this isn't just any gate. This gate carries weight, not physical weight, spiritual weight, the kind that shakes nations, the kind that echoes through centuries. Both Jews and Christians believe something remarkable about this gate. They believe the Messiah will walk through it, not around it, not beside it, through it. For Christians, this is where Jesus entered Jerusalem before his death. He rode a donkey down the Mount of Olives. He crossed the valley, and he passed through this very gate, fulfilling what prophets had written centuries before. For Jews, this is the doorway of the coming king, the one who will restore Israel, the one who will bring peace. Two faiths, two timelines, one gate. And for 480 years, it hasn't moved. But something is different now. Something has shifted, not outside the gate, inside it. And what's inside might be the answer to a question the world has been asking for 2,000 years. Why would anyone seal a gate for centuries? Not for war, not for protection, for prophecy. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 44, verse 2, an ancient voice speaks across time. It says this gate must remain shut. Why? Because the Lord, the God of Israel, has entered through it. That one sentence changes everything. This wasn't a king's command. This was a divine decree, written thousands of years ago, waiting to be fulfilled. But when did God enter through this gate? Many scholars point to one moment, one day, one king riding on a donkey. In Zechariah chapter 9, another prophecy appears. It speaks of a humble king, not on a war horse, not in a chariot, on a donkey, coming to Jerusalem, bringing salvation. And that's exactly what happened. On Palm Sunday, Jesus descended the Mount of Olives. He crossed the Kidron Valley, and he entered Jerusalem, not through the northern gates, not through the southern gates, through the eastern gate, the Golden Gate. The crowds shouted. They waved palm branches. They called him king, but they didn't understand what was really happening. Prophecy was being fulfilled, step by step, stone by stone. And after that moment, something shifted. If God entered through that gate, as Ezekiel wrote, then it was never meant to open again. Not by human hands, not until he returns. The gate wasn't sealed by accident. It was sealed by design. Divine design. But here's where it gets strange. The man who actually sealed it didn't believe in these prophecies. He didn't read Ezekiel. He didn't follow Jesus. Yet he did exactly what prophecy required. And he had no idea. His name was Suleiman the Magnificent, ruler of the Ottoman Empire, one of the most powerful men in the world. In 1541, he gave an order: seal the Golden Gate, block it with stone, let no one pass through. Why? Some historians say he feared the prophecies. He had heard what Jews and Christians believed, that a Messiah would enter through this gate, that a king would come to reclaim Jerusalem. So he sealed it, not with ceremony, with strategy. But he didn't stop there. To make sure no holy man could ever approach, he built a cemetery right in front of the gate. Muslim graves, rows of tombs, a barrier of the dead. The logic was simple. No priest would walk through a graveyard. No Messiah would cross over bones. It was clever. It was calculated. and it was useless. But because prophecy doesn't bend to human plans, time and again others have tried to interfere, and time and again something pushed back. In 1917, Muslim leaders prepared to demolish the gate entirely. The orders were signed, the workers were ready. But on that very day, British forces captured Jerusalem. The plan vanished. The gate remained. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israeli soldiers took control of the Old City. They had the power to unseal the gate. They had the tools, the opportunity. But a respected rabbi stopped them. He said only the Messiah may open this gate. And so they stepped back. Not once, not twice, but over and over. History has tried to touch this gate. And over, invisible hands have held it shut. Empires rise, empires fall. The gate stays sealed. Wars begin, wars end. The gate stays sealed. As leaders come, leaders go. The gate stays sealed. Until 2019. If you're watching this, and you sense something shifting in the world, you're not alone. Many are beginning to see what prophecy watchers have known for years. If this resonates with you, take a moment now to subscribe and turn on notifications, because what we're about to reveal next changes everything. For centuries, nothing moved, nothing changed, nothing breathed behind those ancient stones. Then came 2019. Reports began to surface, quiet at first. Whispers among prophecy watchers, photos circulating online, videos leaking through social media. Something was happening inside the Golden Gate, not outside. The outer wall remained sealed, still bricked, still silent, still untouched since 1541. But inside? But he said behind the stones, a different story. Here the inner chambers had opened, not with bulldozers, not with explosions, not with fanfare or announcements, just open. People were entering, not soldiers, not archaeologists, worshippers, ordinary people, praying where no one had prayed for generations. Photos showed candles burning. Videos captured voices echoing, prayers rising in spaces that had been silent for nearly 500 years. How did this happen? Who authorized it? Why now? Authorities offered no clear explanation, no press conference, no official statement, just silence from the outside and activity on the inside. Some called it renovation, others called it coincidence. But for those who understand prophecy, this was neither. This was a signal. Think about it. Ezekiel said the gate was shut because God entered through it. The outer seal remains. But the inner chamber, the heart of the gate, now breathing again. What does it mean when a gate opens from the inside but stays sealed on the outside? Could this be a spiritual message? Something awakening that the world cannot yet see? A movement behind the walls before the walls come down? The face of the gate remains closed, but its heart has started beating. And if the heart is stirring, then something is approaching, or someone. But this gate doesn't just open anywhere. It faces one specific place. And that place matters more than you might realize. For 480 years, the Golden Gate stayed sealed, silent, waiting. Empires tried to destroy it. They failed. Armies tried to open it. They stopped. Leaders tried to control it. They couldn't. And now, something is moving. Not outside, inside. The outer stones remain. But the heart is awakening. The mount still watches. The gate still waits. The prophecies still stand. And somewhere between what was written and what is coming, we find ourselves standing, watching, wondering. The gate hasn't fully opened. Not yet. But when it does, only one will walk through. And he won't knock. For 480 years, the Golden Gate stayed sealed, silent, waiting. Empires tried to destroy it. They failed. Armies tried to open it. They stopped. Leaders tried to control it. They couldn't. And now, something is moving. Not outside. Inside. The outer stones remain. but the heart is awakening. But let's pause here. Let's think about what this really means. A gate that was sealed by prophecy. A gate that resisted every human hand. A gate that faced the exact mountain where Jesus will return. That gate is stirring. This isn't just about stones and mortar. This is about timing, divine timing. Throughout history, God has used signs. He used a rainbow for Noah. He used a star for the wise men. He used earthquakes and darkness at the cross. God speaks through signs. And this gate, it might be speaking right now. Consider what else is happening in the world. Israel is back in its land after 2,000 years of exile, just as prophets predicted. Jerusalem is under Jewish control, just as Scripture foretold. The nations are turning against Israel, just as the Bible warned. Wars are increasing, not decreasing. Famines are spreading, not shrinking. Earthquakes are multiplying, not slowing down. And in the middle of all this chaos, a gate that hasn't moved in 480 years suddenly shows signs of life. Coincidence? Maybe. But what if it isn't? Jesus told his followers to watch. Not guess, not predict dates. Watch. He said, when you see certain things happening, look up. Your redemption is drawing near. He compared it to a fig tree. When branches become tender and leaves appear, you know summer is close. You don't need a calendar. You read the signs. The signs are everywhere now. The question is whether we're reading them. The Golden Gate remains sealed on the outside. The prophecy says only the Messiah will open it fully. No king, no army, no government, only him. But the stirring inside, the prayers echoing in chambers silent for centuries, the activity behind walls that haven't moved since 1541, that's not nothing. That's something. And here's what we must remember. When Jesus came the first time, most people missed it. The religious leaders missed it. Oh, the politicians missed it. The crowds who waved palm branches, they missed who he really was. He came quietly, humbly, on a donkey. But the second time will be different. Every eye will see him. He will come with clouds, with glory, with power. The Mount of Olives will split. The nations will tremble. And that gate, that ancient, sealed, stubborn gate, it will open, not by human hands, not by explosions or bulldozers, by his presence alone. The mount still watches. The gate still waits. The prophecies still stand. And somewhere between what was written and what is coming, we find ourselves standing, watching, wondering. The gate hasn't fully opened. Not yet. But when it does, only one will walk through. And he won't knock. He won't ask permission. He won't wait for approval. He will simply enter, and everything will change. Oh, the question isn't whether the gate will open. The question is whether you'll be ready when it does. Because ready or not, he's coming.